sure. Only if the tweets consent.
Some of these are a little bit old because we missed last week, and I couldn't not do this one. So you know how I talk about how the Republicans are the party of no. Their whole platform now is just find something Democrats are doing and then say no to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have now gotten to the point where Chris Kobach, or Kobach, I'm never sure what the CH is. I believe he's a representative in Congress. It might be a state Congress, it might be a federal. I want to say he's federal, but I'm not 100% sure on this. I did look it up back on March 7th, but it's been a while. He is now...
God, this is the fucking dude who's like, "Not lead's good, actually."
He's coming out as pro-lead pipes because the Democrats are trying to get rid of lead pipes. And you have to say no to the Democrats. So, Biden wants to replace lead pipes. He failed to mention that the unfunded mandate sets an almost impossible timeline, will cost billions, infringe on the rights of states and their residents, all for benefits that may be entirely speculative.
There are no speculations on lead, Chris. No. We don't speculate on lead anymore. We got rid of it in paint for a reason.
Yeah, but that reason was for the same reason as asbestos, and we all know that's speculative.
That's totally. That's why good old Donald Trump brought asbestos back to the good old US of A.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he did that.
Ugh, smells like cancer.
I forgot that he brought asbestos back. Wow. Party of minimal government, unless it's about sex.
Yeah. We need fewer regulations. Okay, cool. I guess we'll all die.
Sargon of Akkad. He's quickly becoming a regular on this show. Fun fact, my middle name is Carl.
Vice Carl Rhino.
That's the one, yeah.
I'll take it.
Islam is an expression of medieval Arab morals and culture. It is not independent of the circumstances which birthed it. If you, a Westerner, convert to it, then that is an act of spiritual cuckoldry. If you have your own ancient and noble moral traditions, proudly embrace them.
Oh my God, this idea... Okay, so I have to go on a rant about this shit, because having seen people convert to and from different religions for several years, it's okay when you go, hey, my beliefs are a little bit different now than they used to fucking change them. If it's going from a religion to atheist, if it's going from atheist to a religion, I prefer not in some cases, but I can understand it. It's okay. It's not fucking cuckoldry to be like, I believe something different than I did 12 weeks ago. I believe in gods differently. That's fucking fine.
Yeah, well, there's also, like, I mean, this isn't so subtle, but there's definitely some white supremacy shit going on in here.
Yeah, there is.
Like,
because
his default assumption is that everybody in his audience is a quote-unquote Westerner. Not that they're Christian. Not that they're Christian, because you're allowed. Because I think he's still an atheist.
You'd think that, but not based on the shit he's been saying lately.
Yeah, I know. But like he's
like a Jordan Peterson Christian.
Yeah, a good chunk of his audience is atheist, but he uses the term Westerner because that's white Europeans basically. But like, I look at my analytics, and yes, most of my audience is from the United States, Canada, UK, and Germany. Those are my top 4. Love my Germans. They're anytime I have to do anything with Frederick.
Would it be cuckoldry if the fucking if people from other religions converted to a quote Western religion? Also, how is Christianity a Western religion when it was birthed in the Middle East? Fucking place?
Yeah. Well, you can't expect nuance from this guy. He's an idiot. Rosina says, I saw someone claim Westerners were neutering Mexican food in the U.S. What? I mean, is that referring to Taco Bell? Anyway. Oh, yeah, Rhino says, how do you know if your analytics are accurate if we're using VPNs? Because most of you don't use VPNs. Let's just be real. Like, even I use VPNs all the time, but by all the time, I mean, like, when I feel it's necessary, which is not most of the time. Anyway.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yes, I use them sometimes.
I wish Carl would just stop. I feel like he had his time in the sun when he was the dude campaigning on behalf of gamers against the evil Anita Sarkeesian. And now that time is gone and he's only known as the guy who tried to become NP and talked about raping a reporter. Like
and got milkshaked a lot.
Yeah, that's all. Oh, yeah, no, he's also the guy that complained about getting a milkshake thrown at him, saying that there could have been concrete in it. Okay, but was there? Well, no, but it could have been. All right. I don't say when somebody punches me, he could have had brass knuckles on.
That's the thing. Throwing a milkshake at someone is still assault. I am still anti-throwing milkshakes at people.
It's not assault, however, it's mostly sugar.
I am, however, not going to not laugh at Carl Benjamin getting a milkshake to the face.
I will say
that's just objectively funny. That's good British humor, good Western British humor.
It's called slapstick. He doesn't like that he played Tom and Jerry and he was Tom.
You think Mr. Bean wouldn't take a milkshake to the face? For king and country, milkshake to the face.
No, it's because he thinks he's somebody who needs to be taken so seriously. And let's be honest, taking the milkshake to the face the way he did is incredibly emasculating if your masculinity is something that you care about as much as he apparently does.
So speaking of cuckoldry, my partner is in the chat saying, what about my milkshake? It brings all the boys to the yard.
How does that have anything to do with cuckoldry unless you're just only watching?
Because I'm her partner, but she's in the yard, bringing all the other boys to the yard.
I guess that's fair. We need to have a clip of just you going, speaking of cuckoldry.
Sure. You know what? There's so many speaking of clip, like, it wasn't too many weeks ago that it was speaking of AIDS.
Then we just need a compilation of the speaking ofs.
Yeah. Richard Dawkins, this is a recent one, says, those who say sex is a spectrum don't realize how rare intersex humans are. Frequency histograms run out of graph paper, so represents a frequency of unambiguous males and females by New York... Okay, so represent frequency of unambiguous males and females by New York's Twin Towers, respectively. Then frequency of intersexes is a medium-sized molehill. Sex is binary.
He recognizes that there is that molehill, though, right?
Yeah, but that's okay. That's the obvious problem with this, but Suris...
The other one is the Twin Towers are the size of the molehill now.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I'm so glad. Yes, absolutely.
I'm so glad I could crash right into that joke for you.
So I'm like, is that a joke I want to make? Yes, I think it's a joke I want to make. And Suris makes it for me, so I don't even have to do it.
I don't think the joke's going to fall on deaf ears.
Too soon, Suris. Too soon. That was only 10 years ago, Suris.
Out of humor.
Oh. I'm trying to figure out a way to bring Building 7 into it. But I can't. I'm just...
I mean, just say, don't talk about gender 7.
There's 7 genders. Yes. Oh, God damn it. It was you again. Fuck.
Look out, Mr. Dawkins. What is it? It's a second tweet coming from the towers.
God damn it. Oh.
Look, I'm just reminded of the terrible, awful, genuinely stupid, mysterious Mr. Enter video where he got angry at the movie turning red because during the time frame that it happened in, 9/11 would have been happening, and nobody in the movie talked about 9/11 when the movie takes place in Canada.
Right. In Toronto. Yeah.
So, I will, anytime I think of 9/11 now, I just think of him doing that and just all the memes that came out of, like, the freaking out face for the red panda and just another plane has hit the towers.
So what I hear you saying is that every time you think of 9/11, your heart is drawn to those poor people in Toronto whose city was destroyed by a giant red panda.
Yes.
Okay.
If 9/11 wasn't an inside job. then how do you explain the flattening of Toronto? Around the same time, Building 7? No, that's child's play. An entire city was demolished by a kaiju.
Well, it was mostly just the Sky Dome. Come on, let's be real.
No,
but the Sky Dome, the Sky Dome is arguably more important to the Toronto skyline than the Twin Towers were to New York. So, yes, I said it. Shots fired. Suck it, New York.
I still love the fact that in the old game Deus Ex, not the newer ones, but in the old Deus Ex that was made before the Twin Towers fell, the Twin Towers are missing from the New York skyline.
Oh,
in a first-person shooter from the 90s that's about the future.
There's also the Wingdings font, which if you type 9/11, it was like 2 buildings and a plane.
Jesus.
Did you not see that one?
I haven't.
Yeah, because we all know that, like, when you're planning an inside job, like when you're planning a massive conspiracy to start a war with Iraq over oil or whatever the fuck motivations they thought they had, obviously you're going to tell the people designing fonts at Microsoft about that.
And we go to worship owls in the backyard of one of the senators.
That's the Republicans.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
Rosina Keller says, Mexico is geographically a Western country, so the person complaining about Taco Bell clearly meant Westerners as people living east of Mexico. Okay. That's fair. That's why I don't like the phrase, the West. And anytime I've had to use it in a video in response to, like, someone else using it, or just it works in context or whatever, I've always used it in conjunction with a map that is highlighting which countries are counted.
I like it. The concept of the West and the East is literally, like, by all definitions, Eurocentric. It only exists if we are positioning ourselves in Europe.
Well, it's kind of being replaced now with the global North and the global South, with the global South being the countries that are generally underdeveloped. Like, this is also kind of replacing the, third world, first world classification. And that's mostly just because the countries, like most of the countries that are economically doing well are in the northern hemisphere, and most of the ones that are economically not doing so well are in the southern hemisphere. It's still not a perfect divider, but, like, why would we expect any straight line on a globe to be a perfect divider of socioeconomic impact of international whatever the fuck?
And I remember when my guild leader in WoW years ago was having a conversation with a bunch of the conservatives in our guild, and his exact words for America were, "We are the richest second world nation."
Sure.
We have all the capability of infrastructure, and we do absolutely buttfuck none of it for our own.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Jassa says, then explain Australia. Nobody can explain Australia, not even the Australians. That's my hypothesis. The reason Australians lie about everything to non-Australians to make them believe the craziest shit about Australia is because they just can't explain Australia.
There are so many spiders, and yet they're all still alive.
Yeah, those little blue ring octopuses, they're all over the place there, but they're not all dead. You telling me the kangaroos haven't made the humans in Australia go extinct? Come on. It's bullshit. Anyway, moving on from Dawkins. Kevin Sorbo says, new MSNBC host. These people may be stupid. We're not. Pretty sure you're stupid.
I'm so glad that he pulled that insult directly out of a 5-year-old.
I know, like no you is the best he could come up with when being called stupid. Thanks, Kevin.
Pretty sure you're stupid.
Kevin...
I just imagine him saying it like Eeyore now. That's just gonna be my Kevin Sorbo voice.
I mean, yeah.
Disappointed.
Oh, I can totally see that. Jess Proxy says, no, you can't be countered. You are correct. It cannot. I have 5 children that have regularly won debates in this house by just saying no you until the other person gives up.
Jassa, I can counter it by using reprieve instead of mana tithe. Don't at me.
What'd you say? I was talking about your kids. She was like, and then they met me. I'm like, it's your kids that do the know you more. My kids are a bit more clever about it. Like, just because they're older. No, they try and dress the know you up in more complicated terms that get people distracted. But Kevin Sorbo is on the same line as your 4-year-old, yes.
Said Sorbo wishes he was Arnold. Yeah, he would be a Republican with actual accomplishments.
We get some J.K. Rowling Holocaust denial tonight.
Oh, God, I was needing to talk about this in a video. Thank you for reminding me.
So she posted a picture of a tweet that she anonymized, thankfully, that says, "The Nazis burnt books on trans healthcare and research. Why are you so desperate to uphold their ideology around gender?" She responds with, how? How did you type this out and press send without thinking I should maybe check my source for this because it might have been a fever dream? So the thing that she's calling a fever dream is the fact that the Nazis, like, literally, if you do a Google image search for Nazi book burning, the most famous images that will have Nazis burning books were from when they burnt down the Institute of Sexology in Berlin. That was the primary research facility that looked into trans healthcare.
The extremely well-known book burning.
Yeah. The most famous book burnings from the Nazis were when they were burning the trans books and burning the data on trans healthcare. They set trans healthcare back by like 50 years with that. And then, so I posted this with the comment that J.K. Rowling is doing some light Holocaust denial. I call it light Holocaust denial because, well, this is not explicitly denying the Holocaust. It is denying an aspect of the Holocaust that is also denied by the people who do deny the Holocaust. So those things line up with each other. But of course,
I'd be willing to just call it straight Holocaust denial for one reason, and that is that the way that most Holocaust deniers go about denying the Holocaust is by denying aspects about it, usually just by denying the scale.
Okay, so this is the thing about the people who are still backing J.K. Rowling is I saw this whole thing play out with the trans thing, where like, oh, she's not actually transphobic, she's not anti-trans, she's just questioning she's just questioning whatever
the
it is.
narrative.
She's just questioning the narrative of these people. She's questioning this, questioning that, or whatever. But she's not actually on the same side as these people. But like at this point, undeniable, she's transphobic. I've still recently seen people deny it, like not as many as there used to be, but like they used to be, like, unless she like comes out and says I hate trans people, unless it's that explicit, they will refuse to believe it.
And that's why I'm willing to just call it Holocaust denial.
Well, that's why I called it Holocaust denial light, because I got responses from people saying that, like, well, she's not denying the Holocaust. Like, no, that's why I called it light, because she's doing the same thing the Holocaust deniers are doing.
Because it communicates that message specifically. I can understand that.
Ancestral Clydesdale megafauna says Robert Galbraith is a self-loathing trans man. Yeah. Anyway, when she was called out on this, she had a response. That response, so somebody said, "You're engaged in Holocaust denial, Joanne," with links to, articles pointing out that they did burn a bunch of trans stuff. She moved the goalposts and said, "Neither of your articles support the contention that trans people were the first victims of the Nazis or that all research on trans healthcare was burned in 1930s Germany. You're engaging in lying, Alejandra."
I wonder if she recognizes that she's a shit author by now. Because, like, you'd think that a good author would understand the setup here. If she made a villain that acted like her in her own books, the villain would be a goddamn joke, and their logic would be poked, like holes would be poked in it by everybody else. Because that's what the fuck she did with Voldemort, where everybody got to poke holes in his ideology by going like, he's not even pure blood and all that other fun stuff. So, like, she's already well aware with what happens when your villain is as inconsistently written as her own logic is here.
Yeah, but like, what part? So the Nazis burnt books on trans healthcare and research. What part of that is saying that the trans people were the first victims of the Nazis, or that all the research on trans healthcare was burned? Like,
None of it.
She's trying to save her point by shifting the goalposts and like gaslighting. She's engaging in gaslighting. She is lying about what the original claim was in order to make herself right in retrospect.
Well, and it is the most boring form of defense you can have in one of these situations. Like shifting the goalpost, all it does is it makes the conversation last longer. It doesn't actually enforce your position. It doesn't actually make you right. All it does is make us spend more time pointing out more ways that you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's all it ever does. I don't say this only because of the bar not friend, fucking not friend, Rhino.
Bar friend.
Who did this exact thing in our conversation, constantly moving the goalpost every time that they were wrong on something. I'm not saying this from personal experience or anything.
Axo says bar friend. Oh, someone needs to do a fan art of that, because once it's fan art, it's canon. It is bar friend.
Not bar friend.
And then, Suris, you need to take the fan art and show bar friend the fan art.
Luckily, my group of some of my group of friends here deciding that we're all going to go do Taco Tuesday instead of just me going to the bar on Taco Tuesday, so I no longer have to worry about dealing with this person on my own ever again.
Axo says, I can draw, am artist. I know, Axo, I know. Do bar friend.
Oh my god.
Make it canon. Frank Turek says, why are Christians so afraid to speak out on political issues?
They're not. They're loud as shit about it.
Oh, this made me laugh so hard when I first read it. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? What do you mean? In what way are they afraid? Like, have you seen who's in charge of the House of Representatives in the States right now?
Like which Christians are afraid of political issues? Bitch, where?
Point to us on the doll where you stopped speaking. My favorite part was that she was initially called out by an American journalist, then threatened a libel suit against a Jewish British one. Oh, God. I didn't see that. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, yeah, Frank made me laugh. I think there's another Frank one in here, so we can skip past this one.
Oh, my God.
Oh, case orbs again. This is one that I almost agree with. The left. If we could just put Trump in jail, get rid of the Electoral College, ban voter ID, and censor free speech, we'd be able to save democracy. 3 out of 4 of those things would be great.
Let's see, Trump did crimes, so put him in jail.
Go to jail, yeah. Cool. Sounds right.
Get rid of the Electoral College.
Yeah,
at the very least, reform the thing from top to bottom. It's a broken system.
Yeah, make it so that some make it so that everybody's vote counts equally somehow, instead of being like, oh yeah, this state that only has 25 people in it, they count just as much as New York.
Let's see here. Banning voter ID. You know, I've never been a fan of voter ID systems. I think that when you live in a democracy or a republic, whichever, you should just be able to vote, and identification should be something you don't have to pay to get. It should be just given to you legally and freely, and it should be your right. And if you don't have that at time of trying to go vote, there should be a system in place to get you registered with an identification, literally right there on site, so that you have it for the future, or if you lose it again, you have it next time. And yeah, it'll make those lines take a little longer, but you know what else would make those lines take longer? If people actually went the fuck out and did it.
And censor free speech. It depends what you mean by censor. I have a feeling I have a different definition than case orbs. Like, censorship is fine in certain instances.
Like, I don't want... When the day comes that I see that I have kids, I don't want my kids seeing certain things on TV.
I bleep the swear words. I bleep the swear words on my podcast because I make more money if I do that. Because I don't have to mark it as explicit. That's censored. And some people actually prefer it bleeped because they think it is more funny than if I just say the word. So, everybody wins. Anyway, but also, like, back to the voter ID thing, So the main reason that they want voter ID is ostensibly it's to prevent illegal immigrants from voting. Here's my thoughts, though, is that if the population of illegal immigrants is so significant that they are actually capable of affecting the outcome of an election,
then the laws of the land apply to them and they deserve to vote.
Then maybe they deserve to be represented. Like, maybe they shouldn't live in a system where they have absolutely no say in how that system is administrated.
This is why you get the, what is it? This is why you get the argument that because FBI stats bear out that illegal immigrants don't do as they don't do as much crime as people who are born and raised in the country that you know that you're in.
Yeah.
If you really want to stick it to them, then make citizenship a whole lot easier for them. Then they'll be part of the other statistic.
That reminds me, the father of Laken Riley has come out and said how annoyed he is. Like, he feels like Fox News is using the death of his daughter for political stuff, and he doesn't like that. So when the family of victims of violent crime committed by illegal immigrants are coming out and saying, hey, stop using that for your political narrative, maybe listen to them. Like, you can't claim to be the compassionate ones who are trying to make sure that this can never happen again if you're ignoring the people who, like, you're doing actual harm to the victims in these situations in the name of preventing these victims from existing in the first place. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Well, also, because there's this one doofus that makes posts on my Twitter all the time that I think I've blocked by now, so I don't see their shit anymore. But whenever I talk about anything trans related on Twitter, they'll put up a meme that has like 4 different shooters who some people say were trans, and they'll put it up.
Yeah, I've seen
every
this.
single time. And aside from the we don't know if every one of those were trans argument,
no, if it's the meme that I'm thinking of, we actually know that, like, at least half of them are not trans. There was just like one picture of them in a wig once.
The other thing is, how likely is it that them being trans was the reason that they went out and killed somebody? Like with the illegal immigration thing, how likely is it that the racial component of somebody is the reason they went out and killed somebody?
Even if we grant the trans thing, though, like, statistically, that still means that trans people are massively underrepresented in the population of people who commit mass shootings. Because they found 4 out of the hundreds that happen every year.
Yeah, the usual response that I would give before I stopped giving a shit was going, now do white people.
Yeah.
Now do the stats for white people.
Exactly. So Reploid 404 says, in all seriousness, do you guys think that in the next 5 years, like, half of those representatives will drop dead finally, at least in the States? Yeah, there's a lot that are getting up there in age that, not gonna lie, I'm sitting here being like, the world will be a better place when that one kicks the bucket.
Yep.
I'm actually slightly annoyed that Mitch got to announce his retirement before whatever is causing him to glitch out gets him.
Like, it is an unfortunate reality. And a lot of people don't want to contend with this, but it is still an unfortunate reality that the world does get better, by and large, when bigots die. That does not mean that you need to try to do anything to hasten their deaths. Don't go out and do any violence against people you consider bigots, because that would be stupid.
I'm not going to pretend to be upset when people like Rush Limbaugh died. Someone mentioned him on a podcast today, and it still makes me happy to know that the world no longer has Rush Limbaugh in it, because he was a terrible human being who laughed at people who got AIDS.
Yeah. So,
I don't need to pretend to be sad for his relatives or the people who loved him. Like, if somebody loved that man, they're probably not a great person either.
So it's just, yes, the world does get better when bigots kick the bucket. And oftentimes, many bigotries are generational. So them kicking the bucket is, in every sense of the word, or every sense of the phrase, just a matter of time. Generally
Yeah.
speaking, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Stephen Miller, the guy behind the child separation policy in the Trump administration. So we know that he's in touch with the American people and how they think and feel, right?
No,
So he
probably not.
says the State of the Union response from Senator Katie Britt is a grand slam, total evisceration of Joe Biden, deep emotional connection with the American people, and rhetorical sledgehammer to Biden's sinister border invasion. Did you see that video from Katie Britt?
No, but
Did you? You didn't see that?
Biden's border invasion?
Wait, no, you didn't see the Katie Britt video?
No.
Oh, Suris, I have a clip of the Katie Britt video.
Oh no.
It's glorious.
President Biden's border policies
Oh, this
are a
thing!
disgrace.
Cerveza cristal. Cerveza cristal.
Okay,
I remember when those were when that was in Star Wars.
yeah, I feel like I remember that happening live differently than it happened in the playback. But yeah, no, she was completely disconnected. Everybody on all sides was just completely eviscerating her for it. It was just like it was ridiculous. Scarlett Johansson, my and my partner's third, we've agreed that we both have a crush on her. She did the SNL sketch. It's sketch making like making fun of that, and it was just it was amazing. It was perfect. And like just the way she like enunciates everything and is like speaking in this airy, like, I don't know, it was weird. And like Republicans were hating on it as well. Like this is like bipartisan. People did not like that response. They thought it was weird and awkward and off-putting.
There was a
But
thread.
Stephen Miller, the guy who was like, yeah, torturing kids is a thing that people can get behind. Well, I guess Suris can get behind it, but like, yeah, the fact that Stephen Miller is behind it kind of like serves to demonstrate just how out of touch it was.
Like, okay, so I haven't actually watched that whole thing, but I did watch a thread dissecting it from top to bottom, going, okay, so like showing all the little parts of it that can show you that it is a type of propaganda. One of the things was, notice that this is a woman in power, but the area that they decided to film it in was in a kitchen, a place that conservatives would generally be okay with women being in.
So have you seen, like, one of the criticisms of it was that the kitchen is like weirdly empty and sterile?
It doesn't look like a kitchen anybody uses.
So somebody found pictures of the house that they live in now when it was for sale, and it's like, how did the house look more lived in when it was like tidied up and cleaned out for pictures for real estate listings than it does when these people actually live in it?
Yeah.
Oh, apparently somebody redeemed a hydrate. I don't know why my hydrate redeems are not making noise for me, but they wanted me to drink water, and I drank beer, apparently.
I've never gotten audible redeems for hydrate, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, well, maybe it did come through audibly and I was just distracted, because that happens.
You being distracted? Absolutely never.
Well, somebody just did the hats, so. Yeah. Gotta get my octopus on here. Octopussy. That's a movie title.
It is a movie title.
Why is that a movie title? How did that happen?
Different day, different age?
I could see how that could be a movie title of a not James Bond movie. There are other movies I could think of that might have that title. They'd probably be animated. They would probably involve a lot of these guys.
I have seen enough hentai to know where this is going right now.
Star Wars was brought up, and I have to tell you, Philosophy Tube is in Star Wars now. Like, the YouTuber Philosophy Tube is in Star Wars.
She is in the new Star Wars series that is coming out, the one that's like 100 years before the Republic, or 100 years before the Battle of Hoth.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it when YouTubers get jobs in the film industry. It makes me have hope for my future. Maybe I can be an actor someday.
I mean, I am voice acting in a video game right now.
I would not mind voice acting occasionally, but I don't have time for that right now.
And I wonder why I barely have time for my own content.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Put me in touch with your agent. Wendell. I think this is the last one, so we can just kind of plow through. We can plow through Wendell. He won't mind.
No.
He likes being plowed through, I hear.
It's
allegedly.
probably the only play he gets.
Yeah. So he presents the syllogism, says, 1. The fine-tuning of the initial state of the universe is due to either physical necessity, chance, or design. 2. It is not due to physical necessity or chance. 3.
Based on
Therefore,
what?
it is due to design. Yeah, no, because you can just assert things like that. You can
It's
just say
not
that.
due
You can
to
just
it
say
based
that and it
on
makes
what?
it true. You can just say that and it makes it true.
That doesn't even meet the definition of a brute fact. You
No.
can't use that.
It's true because he said so. Suris, come on.
That's not how that works.
Philosophy 101, Suris. It's true because he said so.
No, it's not. Fuck you. Fuck him. Don't fuck him. Don't let him breathe. All I want for Christmas is not this.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, Wendell. He also he did a bigger one. He did a bigger argument that had like 7 premises or whatever before, and it was in response to William Lane Craig doing that interview with what's his face, and so his whole thing was like about genocide and bad actions that God commands or commits or whatever, and like every point that he made except for point number 4 was all about divine command theory, how like God is perfect, God is morally perfect, so everything that God says to do is also morally perfect, and that's just why it is. Like, we don't have to understand it, that's just how it is. But point number 4 was, but the Canaanites were really, 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 really bad though. It's like, okay, but if all the other stuff is true, if you actually believe all the other stuff is true, why does point number 4 even matter? It shouldn't. The fact that God said it should be enough for you, so why do you need that? So it's just proof that, like, even the people who claim to subscribe to divine command theory, their actions and words do not bear that out. They always appeal to consequentialist ethics, just like the dirty, filthy atheists that they claim to disagree with on that. And then Rosina Keller points out that we're not even fine-tuned as the anthropic principle. Yep.
Is this Puddle? Well, I am Puddle. Is this hole made for me?
My dog is named Puddles.
Oh. Was the hole made for him?
Her. She is the hole.
No!
Why would we go there, Suris? No. Stop it. Don't do that.
You went there, not me.
You're the one who made it about holes, though.
Yeah. This is the Puddle.
God damn it. All right, stream's over. Bye.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie Chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.